Some drivers race for trophies, some race for glory. And then there's Kyle Busch, a driver so talented that fans couldn't ignore him, and so controversial that many couldn't stand him. Nicknamed Rowdy, Kyle Busch spent more than 2 decades dominating NASCAR while becoming one of the most polarizing figures in motorsports history. But behind the booze, behind the rivalries, was a relentless competitor determined to prove he was the best. This is the story of Kyle Busch. Kyle Thomas Busch was born on the 2nd of May, 1985, in Las Vegas, Nevada. Racing wasn't simply a hobby in the Busch household. It was a way of life. His father, Tom Busch, worked as a mechanic and helped both of his sons learn the fundamentals of racing. Kyle's older brother, Kurt Busch, was already making a name for himself behind the wheel. Many expected Kyle to follow in his brother's footsteps. Few imagined he might surpass him. Before most teenagers earned their driver's license, Kyle was already winning races. His natural speed was impossible to ignore. In 2003, Kyle Busch arrived in NASCAR. Almost immediately, the racing world noticed something special. Aggressive, fearless, fast, very fast. Driving for Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle quickly established himself as one of the sport's brightest young talents. In 2005, he earned his first NASCAR Cup Series victory. At just 20 years old, the future looked limitless. But talent alone wouldn't define Kyle Busch. His personality would become just as famous as his speed. Kyle Busch wasn't interested in being NASCAR's most popular driver. He wanted to win, and he wasn't afraid to say exactly what he thought. His fiery attitude earned him a nickname, Rowdy. Fans either loved him or hated him. There was rarely an in-between. Busch became common whenever he stepped onto the stage, but Kyle embraced the role. Every villain needs a crowd, and every crowd made him stronger. While critics focused on his attitude, Kyle focused on victory lane. Throughout the late 2000s and 2010s, Kyle Busch transformed into one of the most dominant drivers NASCAR had ever seen. He won everywhere. Short tracks, super speedways, road courses. No matter the challenge, Busch found a way to win. Over time, he accumulated records few thought possible. Most victories across NASCAR's National Touring Series, more than 200 career wins, multiple milestones that cemented his place among racing's elite. Whether fans cheered or booed, they were witnessing greatness. Then came one of the greatest comeback stories in NASCAR history. In 2015, Kyle Busch suffered a devastating crash at Daytona. His injuries were serious. Many questioned whether he could return to championship form. But Kyle Busch had spent his entire life proving people wrong. After missing a significant portion of the season, he returned, race by race, win by win. Against all odds, Kyle Busch captured the 2015 NASCAR Cup Series championship. And 4 years later, he did it again, winning a second Cup Series title in 2019. Behind the helmet, Kyle Busch was also a husband, a father, and a mentor. Together with his wife Samantha, he openly shared their struggles with infertility and used their platform to help families facing similar challenges. Through Kyle Busch Motorsports, he helped develop the next generation of NASCAR stars. His influence extended far beyond the racetrack. Few drivers have ever combined speed, thrill, passion, and controversy quite like Kyle Busch. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't universally loved, but he was unforgettable. Love him or hate him, you watched him, you talked about him, and you never ignored him. Because legends don't blend into the crowd. They change the sport forever. And Kyle Busch did exactly that.